and see if this thing works. I like it. Oh my goodness. Yes. Chris Gurney here. You're in the pre-show for the feedback loop. I hope you're doing well where you are. We are just we're waiting for CouchBot to do its thing, to fire along and tell us that all is good and right in the world. Um, it's really kind of interesting for me, as we had this little moment before we start feedback loop. Um, One of the things that I've noticed is that our world is changing really fast. All right, the world is changing really fast, and there seems to be a lot of tension in the world because the world, as it was arranged before, doesn't really line up with the world of today. And world needs Disabilities Act was passed, um, and that was meant to smooth off the edges of the world that was the little things that were making an otherwise accessible world inaccessible for a lot of people. And when you think about it, it's like, wow, what did somebody in a wheelchair do prior to 1990 when they there wasn't an act specifically trying to adjust the world, the real world, for them. Like, they were just reliant on individuals being kind enough to think about them. It wasn't even a law to protect them and help them through. I think that's where we're at again. That's where we're at. We're at a point where our idea of how our world is designed needs another ADA Act. It needs another ADA so that we can take into account all the ways that our planet and our society has changed. But the funny thing is, it's not just our planet and our society. Technology is having an impact on that, and it's speeding up this change. And that's why I think we're having a lot of the issues that you're seeing today. Um, we're not ready for the change. It's hitting us faster. There are no protections to make sure that change is applied equally to society as a whole. And I just look back to the ADA and I go, okay, what did they do right there? How did they, um, there, for instance, the study that came out that looked at um, like our cities right now. Our cities right now, according to this study, and this is something that was posted on Fast Company, said 65% of curbs and 48% of sidewalks not compliant with the ADA. So even though there's laws to protect those that have disabilities, there are laws to protect and make the world more accessible. It's still an issue. So if it's still an issue 30 years later for those situations, what about the situations that have no protections at all? And that's what I'm thinking about today. There was a great video. You should go seek this out. There was a great video looking at kind of identifying how a blind person uses an iPhone, and I found it incredibly enlightening. I'll drop a link into the Discord later because I think it's something everybody should see. Because I never realized that when you have an iPhone, and you're blind, you turn it away from you, and you use 3 fingers on each side to type, and that's how you type. That's how you would like make a tweet. Is you would this is how you would I guess your finger, the positions, because you can't really tactilely feel that, but you know that there's 3 keys on this side and 3 keys on that side, and the combinations make your keyboard.
blew my mind.
Never knew that. Never knew that. But I do know about alternative keyboards. Question is, do you? And that's something that I would encourage you to. Once again, I'll post the link to the video that I'm referencing in Discord. If you're watching this, if you're watching the live stream later, if you're catching up and you're not a member of the Discord program, maybe you're a subscriber over on YouTube. The Discord channel is we have a design job board. We have an around design. Which is, honestly, a lot of the stories that I talk about, I don't surf the web so much as I go to the around design tab inside of the new Pragmatic Discord channel, and a lot of design stories are flow into there. That's where I saw this story about the ADA. But our understanding of how the world works for other people, would I have known that 65% of all curbs aren't compliant for the usage of people in wheelchairs?
No,
because I'm not in a wheelchair. But that as designers, we can't be blind to that. We have to be aware. We have to be curious. We have to be curious about that. I wonder if how would I do this if I was in a wheelchair? How would I do that? How would I use this? How would I use this if I was blind? It's not about, I can't adjust the color contrast on a button to make sure that it works if the person's completely blind. But there's ways that it works, and just understanding. I look at it a lot like how do audio interfaces work? Because in an audio interface, it's not I'm not blind. The device is blind, but it can hear really well. So these are the crazy weird things that I think of when I'm trying to expand my thought process and think about all the little nooks and crannies where design can go. So I hope that gives you a little something to think about and noodle on as you mow through the days and weeks ahead in your jobs and on your hunt for positions, because accessibility it's not going away. And it shouldn't go away. Our job as designers is to make a crazy, chaotic world a little easier to navigate, a little easier to use, and that that by its very nature, that what we're saying is, I want this to be more accessible. So with that said, CouchBot. I'm gonna check in on CouchBot really fast, because CouchBot had an issue the other day, and I want to make sure that it is running properly. Let's see here, what's going on in the chitty chat for CouchBot. Okay, so YouTube postings, bot was down. Okay, so CouchBot may not fire this morning. They are working on the bot for YouTube. YouTube keeps changing their API, which is not great. So, oops. We'll check over on YouTube to make sure that we're live. Just to, because if you are a subscriber via YouTube, you're getting the alert, and yep, the alert fired from YouTube. So it's just CouchBot that's down this morning. All right. So with that said, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and shove out the gate, and let's go ahead and get this underway. Greetings, one and all. Chris Courtney here, New Pragmatic. It is time for the feedback loop. It is so good to have you back. If you're joining the live stream, or if you're watching the edited version later, the feedback loop edited version, be sure to go check out the live stream edit for the pre-show. We were talking about the ADA Compliance Act of 1990, because we're all nerdy about design and making the world a little more functional. That is really what design is. Design is all about making a chaotic, crazy world a little easier for everybody to use and manage and navigate. Today, we've got a couple of students in here. Charlie is back with updates to his portfolio. Eve is back, and by God, Eve crushed it. I took a sneak peek at what Eve came up with. So Eve is in. She's up there on that orange area. So that's like that's the career exercises that are forthcoming that I'm releasing basically right now. Anyway, Eve's working through the case study writing exercise, and the great thing that Eve did. I mean, she took it and ran with it. Case studies can be really long. All right, case studies get like crazy long, and they get really effing dry. I mean, and instead of trying to go, okay, here's what I did, and here's how I did it, and then here's what I learned. She followed the paradigm that we've kind of mapped out, which is tell me about the thing, and then tell me what you learned. And then that process thing, go crazy as long as you want to, but we can do a few different things with that. And one of the things that I believe you can do with process is you can remove it from your case study. You can kind of put it off to the side and talk and have a different page for that. And immediately it allows you to present your case study in a different way. Instead of having to go, oh, I did this, and then I did that, and then I did this other thing. That's a button. That's a button that says, you could say view prototype, view process, view prototype. So the prototype itself, just like on anything, you click the link and you go to the prototype and you click around. Well, the process can be a different page on your portfolio, just to shrink that case study up. So Eve took that and decided to really run with it. So I'm excited to give you a peek at that. Let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and let's get this underway. So we were just talking about this in case you were wondering where all that ADA discussion came from. We were just talking about the ADA passing 30 years ago. That's in the Around Design channel. And again, I will post the video for there's a video going around, blind person using an iPhone. It's revelatory if you've never seen how a blind person uses an iPhone. It's something you should know. You should know how they use an iPhone. It's important. Okay, so let's dig in here. If I can, where did the web go? I would like to go to the web, please. Thank you. All right, so here's Eve, and Charlie's in here too. Charlie's right here. Eve's right here. So this is Eve's Healthy Eats case study. And again, what I want to focus on here is she has really put the full onus on overview and learned, and basically said the process, the piece that everybody kind of freaks out and says, oh, it's too long, that's going to be somewhere else. So what I'm really interested in with Eve's overview and learned sections, I'm interested in seeing how she's going to still show me the project without taking me through the long drawn out A, B, C, D alphabetical order of methods she used to solve the problem. So Healthy Eats, she's going to show the Healthy Eats homepage, which by the way was great. It's an answer to the Fresh Market Challenge, a supermarket successfully expanding into a growing meal delivery service. She points out that Fresh Market is fictional in its name, but it's a representation that's actually happening in this market. And then she points out that Wegmans has Wegmans Meals to Go, Walmart, Whole Foods, Publix, and other grocery stores now offer meal kits. How does this fit in? Lots of supermarkets all around the planet are moving into, and she actually didn't mention all of them that are doing this. So just know that like this is a widespread thing that she's tackling here. Product. So this is a meal subscription plan for Fresh Market, supermarket company looking to expand into a growing meal delivery service market. And you link to the prototype there, which I think is fine, because we've got this. the one thing I wonder here is like is this really the overview? Like do we even need this label? Should it say healthy eats and then here's the prototype? Do I need that? No, do I oops, sorry. Did not mean to do that. But do I need this part? I don't necessarily know that we do. The problem, Fresh Market wants to increase revenue via a new strategy, enter the meal delivery service market with meal subscription plan based on focus on lunch delivery of high quality deli offerings to existing and new customers. The solution, Healthy Eats, a meal delivery service with flexible subscription plans offering larger portions, entrees alongside deli sandwiches and salads. All right, so that's the positioning. Your role, the artifacts. So you've got a list of things here. I'm guessing that these are going to, they're going to link to specific docs. So it's not like she's going to hot link these to the methods per se. You'll be able to go see those later. And then she also has prototypes: lo-fi, hi-fi, final. So she's got like 3. No, yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, these are all different Figma prototypes, and this is important because often when we link to it, like we show the final, we don't show the progression. And one of the great things Eve did along the way was she made copies of her prototype as she went. Like she said, all right, that was lo-fi, duplicate it, because in Figma there's no like capacity issue, so just duplicate the whole file. That's a really great usage. Now, if there's another way you could do that, but it wouldn't allow you to link like this, and that would be you could just make a new page. You could duplicate the whole thing inside of the same file. I like that a little more from the perspective of keeping up with just one file for you. And you may have obviously you may have done that. You also could go back, and if you want to link out like this, you could just take that page where you made the copy it, and paste it into a new file. Just boop, whole thing into a new file. It'll copy over everything. So I think that having the versions and how you store them is one thing, but having the versions, that's the important thing, because now she can point to these things, and you can go look at what the lo-fi version of it looked like, and then see the final, not just little screen grabs that you might have captured and been willing to share. All right, so learned. Failure's growth. I think that maybe that failure's growth. Okay, fail 1, fail. Okay, I just had to orient myself with how this is being structured. Fail 1, fail 2. What if no tests were carried out? Interesting. Okay, so failure's growth. 47 people participated in a screener survey. How was the survey a failure if it had a good amount of participants? Well, only 5 said yes to follow-up testing of 47 people. I only got 5 to be part of my research pool. That's quite the mishap. The survey focused so much on finding users who use food delivery services, it excluded respondents who rarely or never use food delivery services. This resulted in a laughable small pool of users to help with research. Okay. Growth. Assumptions are dangerous. The skewed limiting survey failed, but it proved my assumptions wrong. Most people do not use food delivery services. Screener surveys should be neutral and broad to gather a large, diverse pool of users for the research phase. And that goes right back to what we talked about in the program. Your survey is really there to generate a pool of research participants. And the survey results, those are great, but they don't generate trustworthy data. So getting survey results is very secondary. What we're really trying to do is find people who match a certain archetype for for the activity that we're trying to test and research, and then pull them into the research pool. So fail 2. Let's build a sitemap instead of individual user flows. Surely looking at the big picture will save time. So I'm not sure I understand this image. Okay. Don't use food. Okay. So this feels like, it could be. There's something that could be there. I'm thinking we'll have to work on finesse these images a bit, and that's one of the things that I like about this method of iterative drafts for a case study. Is you get a chance to kind of think, okay, I want to use an image here, and you, instead of just drawing a box there and going, I'll figure it out later, you're forced to think about it. But with each of these, this might be where an illustration comes in and you find something that's kind of in the space. But you'll tackle that when you get there. So no, I didn't. I still had to map out individual user flows because I missed critical details with only a sitemap. That's right. Sitemap is great. It kind of gives you a sense of like, here's all the pages that would be there, but it doesn't show you anything for how a user would complete a particular task. So, I personally had forgotten that you started with the sitemap and then kind of worked your way back to the user flows, but that's a good observation. The sitemap showed a broad overview of making a payment, but it did not outline the step-by-step process of how a user makes a payment. The details are not the details. They make the design. I should have followed Eames. I naively thought I could skip a step and build the big picture to save time. The sitemap did not show how the product needed to function, but I ended up not saving time because the map still lacked critical information. I fleshed out individual user flows in the end. Boom. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for, where did you mess up and how did you recover? And yeah, now like the sitemap will present itself typically after the flows are done. And I think building a sitemap without flows is really hard. Like I think the flows always exist before the sitemap. Because there's going to be pages and functions and things that you need that are only going to be noticeable when you make the flow. So anyway, research and testing are essential. What if no research was performed? Healthy Eats is largely unused by customers, and there goes wads of cash chunked into the fire. Why? The project brief asked for a lunch delivery subscription plan for Fresh Market's deli offerings. However, research results showed in a figured office with 8 hungry employees on lunch break, only 1 orders lunch for delivery. The other 7 either eat a packed lunch, go home for lunch, or go out for lunch with coworkers. Well, crap, what do customers want then? With research, it came to light that customers needed convenient, healthy dinner plans. Families wanted quick, flexible options for their families, various dietary needs. Individuals asked for affordable, large-size meals to have leftovers for lunch the next day. And this is about product market fit, okay? This is the business side of the thing, all right? This is talking nothing about, what color should the button be, and are you going to use it on a mobile device? This is all about the product itself. This is fantastic. So because research was performed, customers get what they need. No cash burning ensues. Instead, of deli lunch delivery subscription plan, Healthy Eats is a flexible meal delivery subscription plan with larger portioned entrees and deli options. That's exactly right. I could not have guided you to that answer. You found that answer on your own. So kudos to you. Links. Read what users had to say in their user interviews. View affinity mapping, the turning point for the project. And you folks know I love a good post-it note session. So affinity mapping, absolutely. What if, and I think this is where you've got this what if up here. you got to be careful with how this is designed, so people make that link. So what if no tests were carried out? Blind spots would not have been identified. One unexpected blind spot uncovered with testing the high fidelity prototype was users selecting delivery during checkout. And now you're going to show like the actual thing, which that makes total sense. Normal choice. Why is that a blind spot? When asked why they chose delivery over the other 3 receipt options, users were surprised that there were other options to pick from. All 3 options were presented together, yet 2 went completely unnoticed. And she's right. There was this tab section for delivery, curbside, and carryout. They were all there. And people blew right past them. Didn't even see them. Like, they were not hidden. They were not grayed out. They were not, like they were right there. They did not see them. It was mind-blowing, because when she told me this, and I had looked at her prototype. I looked at her prototype. I was like, okay, yeah, you select here. But it was too seamless. So, how were those options missed? The page defaulted to delivery option. Delivery was pre-selective, and users instinctively started filling out the delivery form to proceed, thereby unconsciously disregarding the other options. Because testing was performed, an unexpected blind spot in the prototype was revealed and fixed. And a follow-up round of testing was conducted to see if the update made a difference. And spoiler alert, it did. All right. That's just outstanding. That's way better than if you took me through and said, oh, first I did this, and then I did that, and here's what my survey result. Like, that's so much better, Eve. That's so much better. Now, that does not mean that I don't want to see this written out and produced in some form. But the bulk of your writing, because this is really creative writing, you're having to think about, okay, what did I do? What did I see? How did I adjust? That's all here. This is an outstanding learn section. I do have some questions about the visuals that might be brought up here. This is where I personally might go the route of the free pick, like illustrations, because the illustrations are going to line up kind of with your prototype anyway. So there might be a chance to use something similar. There might be an illustration that shows somebody shrugging, or shows somebody trying to pay. So think about that. Let's keep going down, because I know you've got this overall thoughts. Healthy Eats could fare well in the meal delivery service market. Direct competitor supermarkets are currently not offering ready-to-eat meal subscription plans, and that's mostly true. Although it's changing over time. So I might put in there, as of this writing, most direct competitor supermarkets are not offering. So what that allows to happen is it timestamps this and says, I don't know how the future is going to change, and one of the things I would say is that a lot of people are probably going to start offering this sort of thing, but direct competitor supermarkets are currently not offering ready-to-eat meal subscription plans. Present selections are between food delivery service or meal kits to be cooked. Healthy Eats fills in this gap with a ready-to-eat meal subscription delivered or picked up at the customer's own convenience. Finally, COVID-19 now affecting the world in unpredictable ways. Healthy Eats convenient, flexible, healthy options can be a welcome choice. Would likely be a welcome choice for many households. I would make a slight adjustment there as well. But Eve, overall, I'm really excited. I'm really excited about this effort. Primarily, I mean, the overview is fine, but primarily, like, this stuff is gold. This is the type of stuff that gets people jobs. Like this. This is the thing, Jared Spool, about a year or so ago, he was Jared Spool, renowned UX guy. He was talking about reading through portfolios and not seeing not seeing this. And I even, I try to walk people up to it. And, the thing when Eve submitted her first version of this, the thing that was interesting was that it was all by method, like the things she learned from each method. And I told her to, like, let's tighten it up, because it was rather long, and it was kind of like a color by numbers what she learned in each method, rather than something that really told a story. And I kind of walked her up, frankly, incorrectly, and just said, hey, can we shorten this down into like bullet points? And she made bullet points out of it. So fail is a bullet point, fail is a bullet point. What if we didn't perform research? What if we didn't test? But then she like went long again, and I totally love how it came out. So I guess the growth portion here for me is that when you remove that process piece, because process is now off on its own page. That's as it says right here, CTA. Go view the process over here. When you remove that, you can actually really expand on what you learned without worrying about, oh wait, is this going to really put a burden on, is this going to overwhelm the reader who's going to come in here and look at this later? This isn't going to overwhelm the reader. One thing I might say, though, is as we come down here and we talk about the image relating to the blind spot, I would, it says image of tab selection. I would show this as like an A/B, okay, and then show your adjustment, and show the original, and then show the adjustment side by side, so that people can see what it was. Same thing with sitemap versus user flow. Like, sitemap is this thing, and you can't really tell, and it's big, and it's like whatever. And then like the user flow, like show the user flow. And like you've got links here, but I think seeing that image and understanding what the final outcome was, and like what you got from the user flow, why the user flow was important versus the sitemap. I think that would be important to take a peek at. But overall, excellent work, Eve. I think that this is full speed ahead. Obviously, you've got the process part to nail down, but the process part, in my opinion, is not nearly as much creative writing as what you did a lot of storytelling here in this learned section. So I think the heavy writing, the important writing, is likely behind you, because this is the stuff where 9 out of 10 visitors to your site, this is going to be where they live, on these two sections. Most people aren't going to look at the process, and this is what you have to actually have to move forward. So let's jump in. Let's get a look at that process doc, because I know part of it's written, but then let's come back and move. Actually, and then let's move forward, so that this is the content side of it, and we've got 2 more bits of content. The big one is about you, which is next. So let's get that moving forward. All right. Let's take a peek here at Charlie. So Charlie has resubmitted his homepage, and I pulled up the wrong one purposely. Sorry, Charlie. So this is where Charlie was just a few days ago. Okay, and we all kind of get a sense of what Charlie's been where Charlie was. But Charlie took the feedback from Tuesday's feedback loop, and here's where Charlie is now. And I'm gonna say that, like, the home section here is fine. It's adequate. Nothing wrong with it. It's when we get down here that this thing really starts to push forward. Structurally, this is so much better, Charlie. It like now I feel like I'm looking at a portfolio of of a person who's done a lot of app design, or at least done a lot of app projects. Um, this is light years better than this stuff. Like this stuff is just not well organized structurally. Now that said, let's focus in over here because this, like the spacing that we've got over here is still rough, to be honest with you. Top spin, tennis note simplified, and then this bit. I'm not sure that. Well, first of all, I really believe that like the name has to come up. Let's inspect element for a second. Also, as this comes down in size, I really do think that you want to. We'll put this in a proper phone. You really do want to like take this down to. I really believe 2 would be ideal rather than this one giant one. So let's look at this container 3. If we hid this one, if we said display none on mobile, and then instead of saying 1FR, 1FR, or instead of saying 1FR by itself, we said 1FR, 1FR. What that allows you to do is show 2 of them side by side. This is on like a Galaxy. Let's switch it down to like an iPhone 10. Okay, gives you the same idea. All right, this is obviously working fine. Your nav up there is fine. Ooh, I see you got the little transparency going. That's nice. But it's in here that I really want to see a little more work, like this design reads. If we inspect info, oh, sorry, that wasn't what I wanted. Let's come up here to design reads, and let's put the font size. Let's go crazy. Let's give it 4. All right. So we got 4. Let's get rid of the padding bottom. Let's go to this container. And this container, if we said, all right, so container 2/3, container 90, section, okay. So what if we said margin 100 pixels 0. So, or 50 pixels 0. So now I'm putting 50 pixels of space to the top and bottom, but nothing to the side. We've adjusted this size up. Let's get out of this mobile version. And, well, obviously the problem there is this is going to come back down in size. Let's inspect element again. But you should see that, like, this is now holding a little space to itself. All of them are. Obviously, when this goes a little larger, you have a media query kicking in where it means that third one needs to be showing back up wherever it went. Either that, or you could say for these smaller divs, it's just 1FR 1FR, not and I think for like a tablet that would work great until you got up to a larger size where obviously that doesn't work until you got up to a size where this starts kind of colliding together. Obviously you don't want that, but I do think that like going larger here, giving yourself a chance to like have that hierarchy set in, because it's let's refresh. Oh yeah, there it is. It's not competing so much. I mean, even this could come up in size. And if you were worried about that competing in size, you could always just come and bring it down to, say, 3. I still think it needs just a little oomph. Let's also look at this bit. I'm not really sure the letter spacing. Like if you were wanting like what I'm seeing here is, oh, I need some letter spacing because this label looks too much like the content that's below it. The content that's below it, that actually might need some letter spacing. Letter spacing like 0.1 pix or 0.3, like something that makes it a little more legible. Here on this little thing, instead of letter spacing, what I might go with is I might go text transform. Capitalize, or not capitalize, uppercase. Now, and then if you want to do letter spacing, then it might actually, but now you've got visual contrast happening, and that's what I'm sensing that you're wanting. But without the uppercase, like it just kind of looks like it's just kind of like floating out there, and the size is too close. So, like if I did this and I said, oh hey, letter spacing and 1.3, now it's beginning to carry a different tone to it than it had just a second ago. But all of it's better than this. I mean, come on. Like this, like, no, you're not getting a job with this thing, man. No. This is an absolute no. This, like, you're beginning to find your stride here. Is there more work to do? Sure, there's always more work to do. Let's refresh this. So, here, let's just jump in here and let's just adjust this size. All right. So I'm gonna throw my the dock here to the bottom so we can kind of see what we're working on. You may be folks that are watching this. You may be wondering why is this all running together? Well, it's because he's got this set to vertical height, and the dock is the dock messes with that. But if we come back in, let's paint a picture with this that's a little more appropriate. So let's put 4 on that. Again, let's get rid of that padding bottom and padding top. Let's do the same thing here. I think this this line height's kind of crazy. Let's just change that to 2, because we're gonna change that size anyway. 1.6. Let's do something crazy with that text transform. Uppercase. Let's go get rid of margin top 40. Don't need that. Margin top 20. There's all these margins. All the margins. All of them. All right. So now, this again is taking on that feel of what we had before. And now if we came through and we said, yeah, and also we're going to have margin top, well, actually margin 100 pix 0. Obviously I didn't fix this one for the uppercase, but you get the idea. We go from there. Let's load it in over here. We're not even going to look at this one anymore. But let's just load it. So this is where you are. That's where you could be. Okay? And I think that from a typographical perspective, it's pretty easy to see that this one, that we're using the same basic fonts. Okay? Actually, I didn't touch the fonts. All I'm trying to do is get hierarchy and style into play. And, when you're working with style, when you're working with typography, a lot of people forget about changing the case. When you go uppercase, you can take the size down. When you take the size down, it becomes a little more legible when you use letter spacing to space it out. I actually don't really care to use a lot of letter spacing when it's lowercase, because I feel like it tends to fall apart. But when I think about uppercase and letter spacing, I always think of like the top of old Greek buildings or old Roman buildings where things kind of like stretch out over like the length of a block. You can read it because you're so far away from it. So I'm used to seeing it like that. Anyway, that's my take though. All right. I think that you go a little larger on the name of the application. You do something a little different here with the label, and then obviously keep that as it is. Um, and again, I think you just give a little more space to the top and bottom, and you should be fine. But this is so far ahead of where it was just a little bit ago. And I would do the same thing that you've done here with the design reads. I would get rid of these like frames for Pandora. You don't need them. Like you don't need them. Just like you don't have them with Topspin. The visual design of Topspin is probably the weakest of the bunch, but my hope is that they're really focusing on like design reads and Pandora, mostly design reads. But frankly, your portfolio now, previously, if we come back over here to just index.html, come on, Charlie, your portfolio was better than the artifacts, and now it's beginning to flip. Okay, now your portfolio, I would say that like a little bit of spacing here, like between these two. So if we come in here and we say margin, I probably turned that. I turned that off. That was my bad. I turned that off because I was turning it off somewhere through here. That's the other thing. You've got this H2 usage clearly on this, and then you've also got it on this. Those are totally like different things. I might just use that as a class, like make it an H3 or something. It's just not in the same. It's not in the same realm. But overall, I think you're on the right page. This is all about refinements to the sections. But let's get that adjustment made, and let's keep pushing forward. This is really beginning to take off. I want to sit here and look at this. We got the case study. Nope, we're still in here. All right. So now, Charlie, now that you've spent a bit of time over here on the home page, you've done some work with design reads. Now this is going a little large. So I think the container, we need to have a container on this shape. Otherwise it's gonna right now it's going off the page. So let's get a container on this that like pulls it together. But this is, the whole thing is beginning to come together. It just needs a little more work, but again, man, you're so far ahead of where you were. This is where you were not too long ago. Like this hot mess, man. Now you can actually apply for jobs and stuff. Well, not that one, but anyway, you get the idea. Okay. Although I really want to see the other one again. Index in progress. Oh, there we go. So again, you're on your way. We just got a little bit. We got a little more to do. Let's get those adjustments made, and I look forward to seeing that the next update in feedback loop. Although, what I'll say, Charlie, and this goes for everybody, a lot of you are in the middle of some sort of summer break. Just spending time with kids. Kids are going nuts. To be honest with you, my kid's going nuts. Your kid's going nuts. I get it. I feel you. But just understand that, like, it is good to take a moment, take a breather, get your wits about you. A pandemic's going on, folks. I mean, don't run yourself into the ground. Also know, though, that this week I've had 4 conversations with different students about jobs. 5, actually. There are 5 different students that are actively in interviews or have accepted offers. I'm not going to explain who's doing what, but just know that it appears that hiring is back. Regardless of how bad everything appears to be on fire, remember that the design economy is one that can operate remotely. And because of that, there's a lot of people that are getting back to work because, well, let's face it, we can do things from our homes and continue creating solutions and moving forward. It's one of the perks of the job. So this is not a time to let off the gas. This is a time to really push forward because, competition is going to pick back up, and your portfolios, let's get them sharpened, shined, and ready because the opportunities are out there. I know firsthand the opportunities are definitely out there. And now more than ever, and I talked about this last year, now more than ever, remote. Now, I didn't predict the pandemic would trigger it, but now more than ever, it's remote. And that means that, Charlie, you're up there in Maine, and you want to take a job in Arizona. You don't have to move to Arizona anymore. And I think that's a real blessing for anybody. I've been shouting from the rooftops for a long time. You want to work in New York, but you really love Montana? This is the world you can do that in. This is that world, and I'm excited by it. I cannot contain my excitement for it. So, hope you're excited. I hope you're ready, and I hope you're going to bring back more work tomorrow for tomorrow's edition of the Feedback Loop. So I'm Chris Courtney, and I will see the rest of you. I'll see some of you in a little bit. To be honest with you, I got some meetings coming up. I'll see a few of you. But the rest of you, I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.